Oil prices have fallen more than 5% and Asian shares gained on Wednesday over possibilities of a de-escalation of the Iran war and negotiations between the United States and Iran. International crude oil prices fell early on Wednesday after a US diplomatic push to end the war with Iran eased geopolitical concerns. The global benchmark Brent crude futures fell to nearly 6% to $98.31 per barrel, while West Texas Intermediate futures dropped 5% at $87.65 per barrel. US President Donald Trump has said that Washington and Tehran are in negotiations right now and indicated that Iran is keen to reach a peace agreement, despite the Islamic Republic denying any such direct talks with the US, according to reports. Now on Tuesday, oil prices rose about 5% after Tehran denied engaging in negotiations with the US and signaled it had no intention of restoring normal shipping conditions in the strait. While US allies such as Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates expressed readiness to join the conflict against Iran. Let me in fact go across to my colleague Yash Ahuja, who's joining us with the live prices for oil, for Brent crude, and we'll get those details for you. Yash, over to you.
Yes, Shivani, very rightly pointed out, the markets, global markets including oil and stock have seen a resurgence after Trump's announcement of a 5-day pause in the strikes. On your screens right now is the Brent last day financial live, and as you told our viewers, Brent has dropped by a good 4.58% today. It is currently trading at 95.64 USD per barrel. Its previous close, here you can see, was $100.23 per barrel. It also went to an all-time low of $93.46 per barrel. It today opened at 96.02, reached a high of 96.75, and is currently trading at 95.64. Let's take a look into past 5 days. This is where the Brent crude was at its peak. It was at 109, 110. This is where it was trading at $111 per barrel. That is 19th of March, and this is where the news, Donald Trump dropped a tweet saying that he is pausing the war for 5 days. On that day, it was trading at 108.95 USD per barrel, and immediately it dropped to 100.98 USD. If you look at the time difference here, at 7 p.m. the price was 108.26. Immediately after that, within 30 minutes, the price dropped by $8, and that in Brent crude in global oil markets is a big drop. If we move further, it reached an all-time low amidst the war, an all-time low of 98.46 USD on 23rd of March at 12, and it has seen a downward trend ever since. It only crossed the $100 mark again on 24th of March when it opened, and we can see the prices have been coming down and stabilizing. So it looks like the markets are going in the right place. It is oil and stock market, all of them are seeing a very good resurgence. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Yash, for that detailed analysis and a very interesting graph of the prices of Brent crude. Let me also rope in Dr. Sharath Kohli, who's a senior economist who's joining us on the broadcast for more on this. Dr. Kohli, a very good morning to you. Obviously, we are looking at prices of Brent crude, which have fallen once again due to reassurance that there might be some kind of talk, some kind of peace initiative that has been initiated by the US. How are you looking at that graph of the prices of Brent crude? Because when my colleague was pointing out, he showed that it's a 30 to 1 hour change that keeps happening per day, and we are seeing, the Brent crude shed dollars or gain dollars within a matter of minutes.
Good morning, Shivani, to you and the viewers. Well, that shows the vulnerability of small investors and people who trade in crude. Well, not many people know that crude is traded on the MCX and COMEX as a commodity. And, a slight statement coming from a head of the state or something like that, leads to such a sharp movement. 15 minutes before President Trump gave that statement, there was a massive surge in the volumes in the futures of crude oil in America, in excess of $500 million. So in a matter of minutes, somebody had the information, probably if you go to tweet, I saw the volumes, which are usually about 6 lakh barrels in that minute, usually. They climbed up to 6 million barrels. So, somebody had probably the insider information. In fact, America has a body like SEBI, which is called SEC, the Securities Exchange Commission. I think this is a matter of SEC to investigate as to what insider trading is going on. But having said that, I think the world is riding on the whims and fancies of Donald Trump as of now. Whatever he says, the gold market, the commodity market, the stock markets, they start swaying to his tune, fortunately or unfortunately. Well, the fact of the matter is Pakistan's offer for intervention is a joke. People who are living in houses which has got no walls wants to come in for installation of curtains at somebody's walls, a harbor of terrorism, wants to mediate. This is the biggest joke of the year, if you ask me. But as far as this financial markets, capital markets, and commodity markets are concerned, Shivani, I think investors, small investors, traders, they are wondering now whether we are puppets in the hands of some people who sway the market, and people lose millions and millions of dollars and rupees here and there just by a simple statement. Lifetime earnings sometimes are lost just because somebody thought, let's do this. As for President Trump is concerned, personally speaking, Shivani, as I've been saying, I've got no trust on whatever he says because all his statements have not been ratified by Iranian authorities at all. There's been no confirmation, so there seems to be a monolateral dialogue going on between Donald Trump and himself. Where is the second person, first of all? He even said Iran has sent me a gift, a present. What kind of present has he got? A surprise present. What has he sent? Apart from the Sajal missile that they have, what other gifts can Iran send at this point of time? So I really don't know what kind of concoctions are being made at this point. What is the reality behind this? He keeps saying there is a dialogue going on. He just wanted to pull back from the war because it was far too damaging to America's economy, Shivani. The inflation had started climbing up. The job losses were happening. 60% of the people across America were not supporting America's action in Iran. Primaries for the midterm, November 26 elections had started. His popularity, his approval rating were falling down. Pressure from the Middle East countries probably made him pull out. He's left Israel in the lurch now. Let's see what happens, although there is very little to trust there. We'll just have to wait for 5 days to see what happens. People in the markets, capital markets, commodity markets, they should just wait and watch and not get swayed by these statements, Shivani.
And Dr. Kohli, if I can also get your reactions to how are you looking at the markets and the oil prices for the future in the long term? Do you believe that this volatility that these uncertain geopolitical conditions have created will continue to last for a long time?
Absolutely. If not for the long time, definitely in the near time, because we'll have to wait for 5 days. Because, Iran has still been bombing Israel, and so has been Israel. So the so-called ceasefire, which President Trump announced, doesn't seem to be on the ground. All the ceasefire was meant for probably energy infrastructure. But otherwise, the war continues. There was a drone fire at Kuwait airport also last night. So I don't think ceasefire has happened. Well, Iran has said that Strait of Hormuz is open for non-enemies. So let's see if the ships start passing through Strait of Hormuz, then of course the crude oil price will cool down. It is already down to about 95, 96 as we speak now, very volatile. As I said, it's directly related to the news flow that's happening from the Persian Gulf, from the Middle East, from West Asia, whatever someone wants to call it. So I think we just have to wait and watch, and nobody should take a long position in this as of now. unless you want to risk your money. This also applies to crude oil commodity markets. Well, not many people know you can short sell crude even in the Indian MCX, the multi-commodity exchange, which means you don't have a crude barrel with you, but you can go and sell it. And then when the price falls later, you can go and buy and make some profits out of it. That's what happened in America at COMEX. So I think we'll have to wait and watch. Extremely volatile situation, purely driven on news flow. Shivani, you are the only person, as a news person, who can probably let people know what's happening.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Cole.